Hello and welcome back to our continuing adventures on the CyberDefenders platform. Today we are tackling the banking troubles exercise. More so the fact that I saw that it was more memory analysis, memory forensics using volatility, and I'm looking to sit there and still continue to get additional hands-on training, if you will, in regards to it. So, in this particular one, we are given a zip file, password protected. You can see that I've got the password highlighted. That basically extracts out to like a 500 to 600 meg vmem file, which I think means that they pulled it from a virtual machine just to grab everything that's there. So effectively, the challenge details around Company X's contact you to perform forensics work on a recent incident that occurred. One of their employees had received an email from a coworker that pointed to a PDF file. Upon opening, the employee did not notice anything. However, they recently had unusual activity in their banking account. The initial theory is that a user received an email containing a URL leading to a forged PDF document. Opening the document in Adobe Reader triggered a malicious JavaScript that initiates a sequence of actions to take over the victim's machine. Company X was able to obtain a memory image of the employee's virtual machine upon suspected infection and asks you to analyze the virtual memory and provide answers to the questions. So, from the dump me exercise, I have already powered off Remnox, moved the the vmem file into that, and that's effectively where we're going to do our work, so we don't have another issue with DLL list not giving us the answers in the event that we have to look at something like that again. I learned my lesson the last time. So, as is the normal, let me go ahead and fire up the Remnox window, transition that in. I've done a little bit of pre-game work, basically going through running the image info plugin in order to find out that apparently the suggested profile is Windows XP Service Pack 2 x86. And effectively the first question that we're given is, so it's what, 15 questions? First one is, what is the local IP address of the victim's machine? And because this is a Windows XP machine, we can use the connections plugin. I don't even know if NetScan would work. There's stuff for older versions that kind of works out better, but in this particular case, connections work, and we're able to see that obviously the same section, if we want to be smart ass, we could submit the 127.0.0.1, but we know that's really not what they're looking for because it just wouldn't be that easy. So the other option that we have here is 192.168. What? 0.176. So let's move this over and let us check. This is a nice little difference because the dump me exercise was Windows 7. I think it was Service Pack 1 x64. And this one is obviously the older Windows XP, not even the latest Service Pack applied, and then the x86 infrastructure. Okay, there we go. What's the OS environment variables value? So if I remember correctly, I think there's a... Let me go back to the volatility cheat sheet on hacktricks.xyz. I'm fairly certain there was a environment. Apparently it is envars, so environmental variables. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run that. So let me go ahead and bring Remnox back up. And we'll just up arrow, we'll remove connections. And again, if it comes down to it, I will have to go through and start do the pause if we run into duration. So let's say we got a bunch of this OS environment. I swear I just saw, yeah, right there. So 1752, Adobe Acrobat Reader 32, OS, Windows _NT. So let me transition back. Windows _NT. The free hint, the format that they give us, kind of spells out that that's going to be the case. Yep, okay. And then we need administrator's password, which we did what last time? Hash dump, I think, and then had to, we'll have to break it because we're just going to get the hash. Then the dump me exercise actually asked for the hash, so it was a little bit easier. Obviously not so much in this case, so we're just going to bring this back up, bring this back over, do the same thing, remove envars, replace with hash dump, run it, drink coffee. Oops. Okay, so we've got that. What's the... Okay, so we got the hash. There was a site that I used. Okay, crackstation.net. You can basically put hashes in, I think, up to like 10 or 15 at a time and just have it go through. So I'm just going to knock that out. Not a robot. Okay, it's a little bit interesting. How about the last one? The password is password? Really? Is it? PASSWORD. Oh, good. It's not just that. Uh, or is it? Eight, 8, 4, 6. Okay, why don't we just copy and paste then? Because, I mean, it looks the same to me, but yet... Interesting. So then what's the deal with the first one? So, I mean, this one says password is supposedly the password, but yet it doesn't seem to work. But then we get all this just for that. Wait, there was a green somewhere. Oh no, I'm not crazy. Or I just am crazy. Wait. Interesting. So it shows, okay, let's try a couple of the different variations that it's giving me. So, password. So they're at least trying to, no, that's not it. Nope. So maybe a different combination of capital and lowercase? No. Okay, I have to be doing something wrong because this is usually not this difficult. But okay, I'm gonna pause this, keep trying, and see what comes out, and then I'll just pick back up. And we'll go over how I managed to find it. Okay, never mind. It was simply my fault. I had not Control F5'd the page, and it's been, I don't know, 24 hours since the last exercise. So it remembered the first two, but apparently something timed out finally. So taking the second portion of that hash, 8846 ending in 7586 Charlie, does give you just lowercase the word password. And once you're properly authenticated to the back end for CyberDefenders, it will take password as the password. All right, what process was likely responsible for the initial exploit? So we are going to want to sit there and start taking a look at the process tree again. So I believe the command is the same, just ps list. If I remember correctly. Although we probably want to do ps tree as the next bit, because that way we can actually see as to how everything basically breaks down. But is there anything here that immediately... I mean, at first glance, not so much. So let's try PS tree and see as to how everything breaks down. We'll see what looks a little bit weird. So the whole thing this basically centered around was a PDF. Supposedly. So I'm going to assume it's going to be the Acrobat Reader. Since I don't see any other versions of Adobe Acrobat. And basically that's what they've centered this whole thing around. Gets an email, opens a PDF, and then stuff just kind of goes to you. Okay. Extension of the malicious file retrieved from the process responsible for the initial exploit. Well, I mean, if it's Adobe Acrobat, it's usually only one thing that tends to get opened. PDF, okay. So it's not some sort of case of like, well, no, because even if it was a double extension, so pdf.exe or pdf.vbs or something else like that, it would have kicked off differently. Suspicious process, open network connections. And I already did the connections. Did that bother to show? Okay, so we are looking for 888 and 1752. So we'll go back to the connections. So 888, 212, 50, 64, 30. They said it started with a 2. That matches both Firefox and then the subprocess for. So let's go back and okay. Almost halfway done already. And we're only like less than 20 minutes in. We'll see about how it gets harder at the end. A suspicious URL was present in process SVC host memory. Provide the full URL that points to a PHP page hosted over a public IP. No fully qualified domain name. Goody. The question is, what the hell are we going to do for this one? So it's going to be in can we? I don't know if we can or can't with this, honestly. So let's do this. Let's move this over here. We're going to try strings on bob.vmem grep. Well, apparently we can. I've seen this one come through a few times. I mean, we've seen plenty of this search-network-plus. But this... So let's see if that does it. I'm sure I could have probably done like a grep and then a sort and then another grep. So the beginning of it would have to be HTTP. And I think there's a way to basically, when you do grep, say that the last thing should be like .php. Oh, okay. Extract files from the initial process. So the Adobe Acrobat Reader at what was it? PID was 17 something. I don't think I recorded that. So we're going to have to dump that. So let's bring remnext back up into the transition window. Nope, it's below the environmental variables. I think I'm just going to have to sit there and knock this one out and then just rerun the tree. So let's do that. Let's do clear and PS tree, just so we've got a fresh. I mean, the commands will still be there in bash history if I need them, but I suppose I could always open up like a second tab on the terminal. 1752. Okay, we did this, or similar. Right? We're gonna go, what is it? Was it proc? Hang on. Let's try the, rock dump. What is it? And then dash dash dump dir into the folder that it's there. Oh crap, no, no, no. You didn't specify the 1752. I shudder to think as to what that would end up doing. Okay, so let's focus it just on that. Did dumpter equals dot? I thought I was able to just do like space dot last time. Or maybe it was like with memdump or something? I mean, it is supposed to be like proc dump pid. I am specifying a directory. I want you to dump it straight into the banking troubles. Okay, fine. Tilde slash downloads slash banking troubles slash. What the? Oh, good lord. Okay, hang on. What else was the tools that they specified you're probably going to end up needing to use? Malfind, PDF tools, volatility strings, hex dump foremost. I think I need to change tact. This prox dump is just going to dump out the... We're going to want mem dump because we want to grab everything that's there. I think this is going to be what they require us to run foremost on. I think. Let's see if we can just specify it like before. Let's see if this works. So dump. That's working. Are we done? 700, we'll just say 275 megs. Or are we still doing something else? I don't see this getting any bigger. Oh, never mind. Now apparently it's done. So we have 1752.dmp. So if we're expecting everything that's in there, let's see if Foremost can do anything with the dump. Oh, it's not included in. Well, we'll just get it installed. There we go. Well, apparently it worked. It was able to sit there and rip a bunch of crap out. So we're gonna have what, 7 PDFs? Oh, do we end up getting a hint in regards to what we're looking for? I mean, I'm assuming one file has an MD5 hash ending. So somebody has to have that portion. So then let's do this. Am I even bothering to show the... No, I'm still got the window open. Okay, that's fine. It just went back to the question on the page. So let's see, it's CD output, CD PDF. If we do MD5 sum, the whole thing, and then we are grepping and looking for the ending portion that they gave us. So we have a full hash then. Okay. So let's go back to virus total. Hey, give me one moment. I will get the page updated so we're not looking at Remnox. We're looking at Firefox. And here is the PDF in question having been submitted using the MD5 that we just got and matched. So I believe it's only details. They want first what? First submitted. So 2010-03-29, 1931-45. How far do they want to go? They want down to the second, but not the UTC. Oh, what is the PID of the process that loaded the file pdf.php? We're a little under 40 minutes. It's going to be the Adobe Acrobat one. 1752, right? Yes. Excuse me. The JS includes a function meant to hide the call to find the name of that function. And it's supposed to end in W. All right. That's going to be Remnox again. PDF. Oh, what is it? 0060150.pdf, since we're in that directory. What is it? Interactive? Object 11. Object 112. Seven 787 1054. Oh, God. Wait, I do have Remnox still up. Sorry. So basically, I'm just running PDF in interactive mode, and I'm looking at the individual. So basically just having it take a look at, so we've got objects 11, 112, 787, 1045, and 1847. The 1045 is where I left off, that basically just spilled out all of that. Hey, look, it's binary. And we're looking for something that ends in the W. That would be for like the eval. I see a lot of code in here. So I'm just kind of hunting around, just looking to see as to whether or not if anything stands out. WebEx meeting ahead in the background is finished. I was listening to that while I was running through this. Here we go, right here. Eval. So it ends in W. So it just had to run through the individual aspects or the individual objects and then hunt through that. I wonder if you could use PDF to go through, pull the object, and then reference grep in order to kind of case. Well, that'd be kind of bad. But let's see as to whether or not if we're even on the right track or if I'm just screwing. Okay, I'll take it. It had eval. Just had to dig through the code a little bit. The payload includes 3 shellcodes for different versions of Adobe Acrobat Reader. Provide the function name that corresponds to Adobe Acrobat or Acrobat v9. Oh God. Hmm. Well, I'm assuming they call out v9, so I wonder if we would find some sort of reference to like 9 or v9 even. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the output that's there from Remnox, and I'm going to dump it into Notepad++, and I'm just going to tell it, show me any things of 9. Apparently there are no matches. No luck. Well, I mean, we've got all this binary here, so let's see if we can't turn it into something that's useful. All right, I gotta put a 0 in front of that since I cut that off. So I need CyberChef. I'm gonna dump that in the so all that's dumped in there. We put a 0 in the front. Um, If we run magic, there's too much crap there. Well, I got one other object I didn't take a look at. Crap. All right. Forgot, I'm not quite done. Object 1847. Nope, that don't help either. Was it stream 1045? Yeah, so basically just pulls out all that crap. This might be a case back for that same tool. Oh, what was it? Did I not? I don't think I kept it. Oh, I think it showed up as, okay, yeah, malicious portable. Oh wait, it's, whoops, I forgot I had to install it. What was it? PDF stream dumper. Except I'm gonna have to sit there and get the PDF out of there. Of course, the question is, can I actually do that? Copying this stuff has not been working well. Error opening source file. System cannot find the file specified. Crap. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna have to sit there and try to figure out how I'm gonna get this file out of here to dump into something else. Okay, so I am not gonna lie. It has been several hours of, well, not just screwing around with this. There was other stuff. I extracted all the code from object 1054, all the JavaScript stuff, and I started taking a look at it because I couldn't find anything that, made any sort of mention of like V9 or 9 whatsoever. So as I'm digging through this stuff, I happen to notice that what is it? This stuff right here is one of those binary blobs at the top of the code. So on a hunch, I changed out the return and switched it to console log and then added it into parentheses and then ran it through JS on the Remnex machine. So it basically outputs everything that's here. And what I noticed at the very end of it is that there is looking for something that's version 9. So I'm going to assume that that's probably the code that we're looking for, because it's looking for something with a capital G. But I'm not gonna lie, that took a lot of screwing around with code, everything else like that. Yeah, you can obviously tell it's been a little while because it's not an immediate exhilaration. It's just, oh, thank God that's over. Oh boy. Okay. Now that that's over with, so what's our next portion? The process winlogon.exe hosted a popular malware that was first submitted for analysis on VirusTotal on 2010-03-29-113401. Provide the MD5 hash of that malware. Really? Okay, well, hopefully this one won't be as much of a pain in the posterior. Maybe. I think that's going to be the malfind. So I guess what we want is to go back, because it's been so long. Really? To the /downloads BankingTroubles. Okay, at this particular point, I am just ready for this to be kind of over with. Okay, now we're in. .vmem. Yeah, I am not happy with how long that took. But I can't do much. It took that long because, well, mostly it's just trying to get stuff worked out. So I guess we should try to figure out what the PID of WinLogin is going to be. It looks like 644. So let's run the malfind, and we're going to point it to 644. Oh. Oh, crap. Sorry, I forgot to do the translation again. So malfind on P or -P 644, so the win login. So just as a refresher, we go up here to the PS tree that I ran. Win login. It's got the PID as 644. So that's why I am then running the malfind command and specifying PID 644. And I've gone through and run to have it extract running the cap or -D space period, so the working directory, and then had it basically output the same results into a text file. So it looks like it to me, like this first section here, because MZ, so that's usually like a, what is it, portable executable or PE file. In other words, it's something for Windows. If I'm understanding that right. So basically it takes all the stuff from PID 644 and then breaks it down to these dumps here. So as I understand it, I'm going to want the one that is going to be here. So the 0xA, what is that, 10,000? And as far as I understand, this should be, I believe, what we're looking for. I believe. I could be wrong. So we need the MD5. So let's MD5 sum the file in question, or at least that what I believe. We end up with 66F blah blah blah. So we're going to copy this. We're going to go back to this. We're going to, and again, I realize that I am now outside of Remnix. This comes back in. Virus totals reloading. We plop that in. Do we get anything? Oh, apparently we do. Zbot. Which is also what? Zeus, wasn't it? Same name? Maybe? Or I'm just getting stuff mixed up. So, I mean, we've got apparently a hit. 06. So let's see if the MD5 is okay. This took a lot less time. But only because the fact I was looking for that MZ. So if you ever take a hex editor and look at like a Windows executable file, everything else like that, you'll end up seeing the, I believe it's the first two, what, bits, bytes, whatever you want to call them, is going to end up being MZ. Oh, this one's particularly difficult. Is a variant of the Zeus Trojan. Oh, yeah, so Zbot, Zeus. Okay, so this is going to probably be one. I think this is going to be, we're going to look for files that are in there. So we're going to do a file scan. I'm going to output that as filescan.txt, and we'll end up having to wait a little bit. And then we will go through and take a look to see as to what we can find, because I think last time I ran this, I mean, it's a super long list. I suppose I could probably sit there and grep for items that are would be like slash, or basically just copy and paste and just add the double. Well, kind of late now. I'm already so far into it. All right, so we have a. All right, I don't really need that right now. I don't need that right now. I changed the code. It worked. We got what we needed. File scan. So let's bring this up. Oh my God. So much text. Oh. Wait, I guess I should probably ask, shouldn't I be looking at, it's like I'm doing a file scan, but shouldn't I be sitting there trying to first take a look at the, let's see, registry hive. Ooh, I don't know if that's gonna work. But I guess we'll try it with what they say. So I'm referring back to the reference site that I've been using for all this. So we should be able to do print key -k, and it specifies, so double quote software. And according to them, they are pointing it towards I don't know if that's gonna work, but we'll try it. Oh, the hell? Requested key cannot be found in the hive searched. Okay, it also lists a hive list, right? Yes. It will list the roots. Didn't it end in... Okay, let's try the print key on that then. So it should... Although the example doesn't give a, it gives a single quote. Paste. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know, still going. Let's just double check the hacktricks.xyz. No, in the example they show it's double quotes. Crap. Print key dash K double quote. So they show software, Microsoft, Windows NT current version. Okay, hopefully this won't take another set of hours to go through and do. Okay, hasn't been that long, maybe about 10 minutes of basically screwing around with the print key. So I was able to figure out how to go through and do it by only specifying portions, and also by kind of going through and researching the typical registry keys that WinLogin tends to touch. So what we see here is WinLogin. So inside of Windows System 32 config software, which is exactly where this stuff was talking about, or the registry area. But this is for the key for user int. We get userint.exe. We also get C Windows System 32 SDRA64.exe, which we can verify by the, well, any sort of research you can do. I just happened to find a SecureWorks that talked about it. So you'll see that I've got the highlighted section of the registry, and that's where I was searching for this using that print key. And we got exactly what they showed. So it should be just, C:/Windows/System32 userint.exe. Instead, we've got the comma and then also the SDRA. And so if we want to check to see if this is actually the case, we have the results from the file scan. And there we go. It does end up showing up. So this thing's been infected with Zeus, which I think it was a banking Trojan anyways. But that gives us effectively what we're looking for, I think. We'll see. Yeah. We're almost done. 2 more, right? The shellcode for Adobe or Acrobat V7 downloads a file named E from a specific URL. Provide the URL. Oh man. I was thinking I was done with all that JavaScript code. Oh boy. Well, screw it, it worked before. We're gonna do, and then we're gonna grep for HTTP. and we're going to get a butt ton. But I kind of knew that going into it. But the hint they give us is that it ends in equals 2. So we will use the test to take a test. And so I'm running strings against the bob.vmem, and I'm grepping for http://. I mean, there's a lot here. I'm not going to lie. That had been running for a little bit of time. I'm sure there would probably be a, if you didn't have any idea. Hello. Back to that search-network-plus.com. Load Internet Explorer 6.0 and E equals 2. Well, I mean, it kind of looks like what we're looking for. Partial match, at least. Let's see if we're lucky. Okay, we're lucky. Oh, thank God that they at least give us some sort of idea as to what they're looking for in terms of the answer. Otherwise, I think we'd all just be kind of screwed, especially since we're now almost an hour and 15 minutes of actual recording time, and a good part of the day spent trying to run through all this. Although I won't lie, I did take a break to get lunch, and then a break to join a live event, and then a break to sit there and take a 3-mile walk with Little Butt. Oh no, we gotta try to figure out the the Acrobat V8 exploit to get a CVE number. Well, crap. I don't suppose we'd be just so lucky as I was kind of hoping that, sometimes you luck out and it sits there and maps up in the, or tags it with what CVE it's vulnerable to. Apparently, we're not just that lucky in this case. Oh, we'll rescan the file. We may not get any additional info. And of course, realistically, if we don't have what we need, nope. I don't suppose there's anything in the actual names themselves. No. Okay, worth a shot. Didn't really do anything but waste a little bit of time. I just don't really want to go digging through the code again since that was the multi-hour thing, but I guess I'm going to have to. Okay, it's now been several hours. I've gone through and tried numerous things to see about trying to extract the stuff off of hints. Some of the tools don't seem to be working properly, at least underneath Remnix. Somebody who did this before, I asked them, they had suggested trying out this JS Unpack N, and that seemed to have done something. It gives me an identification for a 2007 and 2009 CVE, but the question is for a 2008. And I'm assuming it's probably the one that it's noting as suspicious. No CVE match shell code. And extract it out to a bunch of different files in the working directory, uploaded those to VT. Definitely picks up the fact that, you know, they come back as bad, but I'm not getting any CVE numbers on them. So I'm going to try to go back. I've got to get these moved over into a Windows sandbox, and I'm going to sit there and try to run the previous tool to try to emulate through those to see if I can get a report. What was it? The SCDBG that was used for, I believe, the dump me exercise. But I could be wrong there, as I'm not seeing it. Oh, wait, no, that would have been done. Was it dump me? I don't know, maybe. So my hope is that I might be able to sit there and run those individual sections through and not have a problem. The terrible thing is that I'm going to have to sit there and kill AV, because as soon as I sit there and move the stuff over, I'm fairly certain it's going to pick up. So I'm going to continue to sit there and at least work down this progress. I figured I should sit there and start back up the recording to give some sort of idea. So I've tried the PDF TK, so toolkit, to try to go through and uncompress the file into a different version, an uncompressed one, and then try running that through VT. And apparently it's not able to open up the PDF that was extracted from that DMP file that I ran foremost on. So now it's just basically trying to do something realistically. If I'm not going to get anything here before the end of the day, I might end up having to take a look and see as to what the actual answer is to go from there. I don't really want to do that, but by the same token, I now apparently have I need to fix a mistake I made in the last video that I did, the dump me one. So it's just, I got other things I got to do besides sitting there trying to work through this stuff. So this is kind of past the point of what I normally would end up doing, I think. But I just don't want to look up the answer. I want to actually get and derive the answer. So I'm going to continue with this and see about getting everything moved through and see how it shakes out. Hopefully more in a minute. Okay. So of the 3 files that were extracted out, PDF stream dumper didn't seem to work all that well. Trying to go through this stuff. Of course, I'm running it on a extra sandbox, trying to avoid anything to stand in. So there was a decoding underscore C9F7 blah 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 ending in 1 Charlie 8 file from the JS Unpack N when I ran that through. And so it basically talks about the no match CVEs, but it basically gives a bunch of the search. So my thought process was basically as the last Hail Mary before I just look up the answer. I'm like, okay, well, let's take this percent U9090%, U9090%, blah, 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 and dump it into DuckDuckGo. So apparently it talks about, so there's Adobe 8.1.491, and there was a couple that would look like a decent thing there. I don't know as to whether if it's going to match up. I mean, even if I can get it by a lucky search, I'll take that over having to actually look up the. I don't suppose that we'll actually get like the CVE that this was dumped under. All right, we got. So 2009-1493, which is not going to be that one because it should end in a 2. Okay, let's go back because I think there was another 7006. Hey, here we go. 2008, 2992. I got something weird going on with my keyboard. I can't do the Control-C, Control-V right now. I think everything just needs to be restarted. Everything's been running for a while. So let's see as to whether or not if we get lucky, short of me just having to look this stupid thing up, because I've about had it with this. This is now like over the course of 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, working on this. Okay. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to cross my fingers. Okay, a little bit of luck. At just shy of an hour and a half. Let's say difficult. Marked as difficult. As suggested tools did not point out the. Yeah. But that's probably not anything to do with them. That's probably some sort of failure of the tools part. And maybe I should have, tried it in, spin up an Ubuntu box or something. But that's fine. I'm just happy to have this done. It was worthwhile, in my opinion. A lot of hard work. A lot of time spent analyzing different things and trying a bunch of different things. But I don't think this would be one of the ones that I would recommend. Just because the fact that, if it wasn't just blind stinking luck and so many days, I'll be honest. This is now Sunday. It was Saturday that I was contemplating just trying to see or looking up a walkthrough to see if somebody else had done this. Because this is just, it's that point where it's kind of the trade-off in terms of time and achievement. My time is worth a heck of a lot more, but by the same token, I don't want stuff just spoon-fed to me. I want to work. I want to get better by having to actually work on this stuff. So, I don't know. I'm just glad I didn't have to actually reach that point. Okay then. I'm gonna get all this stuff put together. Maybe you go through and you do it yourself if you haven't already, and maybe everything works perfectly fine for you. Maybe PDF TK works to uncompress the PDF. Maybe it's able to open it in your instance. I don't know what's going on. But then again, this is an exercise from 2020. So maybe the tools have changed in such a way that, it doesn't work quite right with, such this old stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I just need to burn down my Remnix machine and basically stand up a new one. That could be something too. Don't know. But so that's everything that has been Banking Troubles on the CyberDefenders platform. And with all that being said, I will see everybody on the next video. Hopefully one that doesn't take roughly 3 days of off and on work to get done.